It's indeed true that Black Americans want to be Africans. They want to be Africans at all. And there's no way they can fit into African culture and everything about Africa. The Black Americans, initially, they thought coming to Africa, they'll fit in and they'll get along well with the locals. But that did not happen. They have been to Ghana, they have been to Kenya, and many other countries. But they have discovered it's hard. I saw one of them saying that he regrets being in Africa. And I agree with him. Being in Africa, you have to understand one or two things. Africa is a different place. It's a place with its own challenges and unique ways in which people operate. For example, you are a Black American, you are used to systems which work. If someone offends you, you go to court and the court will solve the matter. But in Africa, most courts don't operate that way. Someone will offend you and you deal with them there and then. If you pretend or you try to be a good person, you go to court and you report that person. If he has money, then you'll get away. You'll never get justice. And that is what Africa is all about. Now, in the US or where you live or where you come from, the streets are clean, there's enough water, electricity, and everything. So that comfort that you're used to, when you come to Africa, you find there's no such comfort. So in some countries like Nigeria, you'll have electricity blackout for 3 weeks and nobody cares. People are used to that and it's normal. But when you are a Black American, new in that area, you never want to live in that country. So Black Americans, the original, their descendants are purely Americans, but the ancestors, those ones who were taken as slaves to the US, are the ones who are Africans. And they're the ones who understood what Africa is all about. This new generation of Gen Z and millennials are coming to explore. When you are coming to explore, it's good, you can explore, but you cannot come to Africa to live because there are so many things you don't know about Africa. For instance, in the US, you are used to, once you finish school, you go and apply for jobs. You are almost guaranteed that you'll get a job. But here in Africa, once you finish school, even if you did the best course, you're not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed. You'll do even 3 university courses and you end up being jobless. So you have to learn how to survive, how to maneuver. That's why we have so many scams. That's why you find people are desperately wanting to go to the US because there are opportunities there. So that's why we say, if you're a Black American, fitting into this system is hard unless this happens. Once you make your money in the US, you have accumulated enough, you have worked enough. Now you want to go to another country and spend your money. Africa is good for spending money. So you come to Kenya, you rent somewhere, and you start enjoying your money. It is good that way. And Africa is good for Black Americans who have retired, even whites who have retired, because they have unlimited access to good things, to women, to food, cheap, and social life generally is good in Africa. That's why they should come here. Now in America, we have families who are there, people who are born in the US. I have several of them, the family members who are born there in the US. Now, when we meet for the first time, the the way they act is so strange. You know, in Africa, we are used to socializing, sharing stories, but for them, they're very quiet when they come. They are in the room there. They don't socialize with us. They're in their phones, chatting or playing some games. So we are totally different. But those who are born in this place and they later went to the US, they know this culture, our culture, and they easily fit in. So we treat those ones who are born in the US as Americans, and they have the same culture as those Black Americans. Even those who went to America some 30 years ago, when they come to this country, they don't fit in completely. That's why most of them come for 2 months, 3 months, 1 year. They opt to return because of so many things. In the US, you'll find people openly posting their pictures about their cars, their investments, and everything. Nobody bothers. But if you come to Africa, you have to hide those things. That is one thing that people, even those who come, don't even know. You have to hide from the rest. So that's a culture that if you're a Black American, you'll never like. Here, you don't show that you have made it. Let people find for themselves. So that is what happens. And for women, especially Black Americans, it's hard. If you come to Africa, it is hard to be married by an African. It is almost impossible. You cannot. But a Black American can easily marry an African. The reason why is because in Africa, one of the things that you realize is that once you are married, you don't belong to that person. You belong to a community. If a mistake happens, the community will solve it. Another thing which becomes hard for many is that at home you don't share responsibilities the way you used to share in the US. Here, the man is the head of the family. Even if you work, you come, you cook, and you iron clothes, you wash clothes for him, and you do almost all the work. And when he talks, you you listen. And that is one thing that Black Americans will never tolerate. But for Black Americans who are the men, they will love to have to experience that. And that's why I saw something, a story in the Independent says Americans are going for traditional wives in Africa. And indeed, they're coming to this place, Kenya. There are so many whites who have married Kenyan women. It is because of our culture, which is totally different. That is why, that's where we score highly as Africans. And that's why marriages in this place stay for long. There are no divorces at all. So it is almost impossible for an African to marry a Black American. It's impossible. But it's 100% possible for an American to marry an African woman, and you'll have the best life. So those are, in Africa, it's totally different from the US. And if you are coming to Africa trying to fit in, and you are young, aggressive, and full of life, you must have money. You must have money, because here opportunities are less. Unless you come with money and identify a viable business to do and start that business, and you become lucky, you become successful, then you can fit in Africa. But for many, there's so many things you should understand before you settle full. We have thousands of Black Americans who came to Africa, and the trend started around 2020, but majority of them have returned to the US because we have cultural differences. We were born differently, and now they failed to fit in. They found no opportunities at all, and in most cases, systems don't work, and they went back. The only advantage they found here is the social life, and at least some things are cheap in Africa. Those are the two advantages. But most of the things, Africa is disadvantaged. That's why having American passport is like having a gold. You can go everywhere because they know at the end of the day, you return to the US because you are advantaged there than coming to Africa. Finally, if you're a Black American coming to Africa, know that in Africa, most people, through your accent, when you are buying something, they will take advantage. That is one thing you should know. And that is Africa for you. And in Africa, majority of the people like begging. Even from us, if you live in another town and you're going to the village, they'll beg. They'll ask for money all the time. The people you went to school with, your neighbors, your relatives, and everyone. That is their culture. And there's no way you can stop it. And so when you go there, you have to pretend that you have nothing. You don't have money. That way, you'll be safe. But most Black Americans, when they come to Africa, they want to show that they have money, they have come to solve their problems. But there's no way you can solve the problems of many Africans, because majority of them don't want to work hard. They feed from hand to mouth, and they want to ask for money all the time, to beg all the time. They'll never get satisfied. So that's a culture you'll never like at all. So in short, if you are a Black American wanting to be identified as an African, of course you can be identified. But know this, it is hard to become an African and to fit in. It's a fact that you originated from Africa, but now you are a Black American.